Palace Bellevue. I'm Matt McCullough.
I'm Ian Leonard.
Hey, it should be a pretty good night. May have some bonus Legacy action as well. Looking forward to our Legacy Preservation Series Invitational that's happening this Sunday.
Yeah, there's a lot of Legacy players out there, so it seems like everybody's kind of getting ready for it.
Yeah, the weeklies have kind of been slowly going up in popularity, hitting sometimes into the 40s and 50s, which is pretty crazy.
So we have 54 tonight.
54 for Modern, sounds like.
I got a weird question for you, because this is Modern.
Okay.
Do you want to put a Miracles mirror on camera?
Miracles
I
mirror.
don't know what that is, but yes.
You don't put it at risk?
They're both on the way control.
Okay. So we don't know the players' names. Frank took the parries away, but it sounds like our round one feature match is going to be a blue-white control / Miracles mirror match.
Yeah.
We have seen some number of Terminus show up in some of the blue-white control decks recently. I'm not sure how far down the Miracles route these players are going. Maybe some Entreat the Angels, maybe some Temporal Masteries.
Yeah, Temporal Mastery would be the real spicy one here, but it seems to be that a lot of these decks are just starting to run Form Terminus and then kind of going along with that. A lot of times they don't necessarily care about playing in the late game, like they usually have the mana to cast it anyways, but being able to Miracle it early is a huge upgrade from just a normal like Supreme Bird against obviously like non-blue decks.
Yeah, plus, I mean, Jace giving you a little bit of value, brainstorming it back.
Yeah, that's kind of another way, yeah, just to stack it up a bit. But it should be interesting. I mean, if they are playing Entreat as their main win con, some are just playing like Teferi, some are also just playing a traditional like not Cell Wreckage, Secure the Wastes as their like sure choice. But it seems like it'll really just come down to they are both running Entreat as a finisher. It's just going to come down to the order that they draw Entreat versus Terminus a lot of these times.
Yeah. The mirror match definitely makes any kind of creature-based win condition somewhat awkward. I think the Planeswalkers are generally the primary Plan A win condition for both of these players.
Yeah.
But time could be a reason that might lead towards maybe wanting to one-shot kill someone with a big Entreat.
Yeah. Another big thing that could happen too, and we don't know the deck list yet, but if, for example, one player is trying to go on like an Entreat plan, whereas another one is playing Secure the Wastes, with the Secure the Waste deck, they can actually play that at instant speed, so they can work around the Terminus and much more effective than the player trying to run the Entreat.
Yeah, I guess there's probably the instant speed, miracle potential of just a random opt, but it's much harder to set up than it can be back when Sensei's Divine Top was legal Legacy.
Yeah.
That made it a lot easier to instant speed.
That'd be quite the play to see. Hopefully like a Jace then to opt on their turn to get the Entreat.
Looks like our players are seated, so we'll head down to the match here. And looks like also have the players switched. So it's going to be Richard on the left and Patrick on the right. Thankfully, I don't need to switch their deck names.
Keeping it easy for us.
Yeah.
Lucky us.
Richard showing off his fancy new hairdo.
Ah, yeah. This guy's always played pretty interesting decks. It's always fun to see him play something new.
Yeah. I know when it comes to GP time, he'll generally settle down. He's been playing humans pretty consistently with that. But for these weeklies, likes to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way
and
to do
enjoying
it.
this blue-white deck.
That's good. I've seen actually, surprisingly, there's another friend of mine that I also know is on this deck similarly. So I'm wondering what's kind of making people start to pull to this deck out of nowhere, it seems.
Yeah, so basically with whatever control deck that you're playing in Modern, you have to pick and choose what matchups you want to be good against and which matchups you want to be bad against. Jeskai was the control deck of choice for a while just because of how good it is against humans.
Right.
But now that humans have started to decline in popularity, we've seen a wider, more diverse spread of things pop up.
Yeah.
And I think the straight blue-white control deck gets better sideboard cards. You just get to play a lot more like Rest in Peace, Stony Silences against KCI, more counter spells against other combo decks. Plus, 4 Field of Ruin gives you a better shot against Tron or other big mana decks.
Yeah, that could be a big pull of it too, I think, especially with Field of Ruin. It's a nice like sort of coverall, and it's nice that you don't have to be as hurt with Blood Moon. Sometimes these blue-white decks still have sort of a tough time against Blood Moon if they're not running a lot of Field of Ruin, but having 4 can not only shore up your Tron matchups, but it kind of helps a little bit at least with the Blood Moon matchups too, so that could definitely be part of it as well. But
yeah, probably a big deal against Mardu Chromancer specifically.
Yeah. And I wonder if they're just wanting these Terminus like sweepers a little bit earlier. I mean, it's always a chance, but in some of these matchups where decks are trying to put a lot of pressure against you, it's got to feel pretty good knowing that you have 4 Terminus in your deck ready to go at any time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so we're starting things off. Richard's on the play here. Looks like pretty defensive hands. Jace, Logic Knot, Opt at least so we can see.
That Turbo Ancestor Vision is pretty fantastic in the control mirror.
Oh yeah, this is gonna set Patrick up much better. Neil has something still, but he's gonna have to get hopefully something online, maybe like a Sorcerer's Counter. Oh, but he's gonna pass.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a pretty important fight in a few turns down the line when that Ancestor Vision comes off suspend.
Yeah, I mean, in a control mirror, it's so hard to, I mean, when once at least one of those goes off, it's just so difficult, especially if you don't have something to respond with. But it looks like Neil has a lot of sort of reactive cards over there, so I'm sure he'll try to fight over it.
Yeah. And I think Patrick saw a second copy of Ancestral Vision off that serum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, set himself up for the long game for sure.
Yeah. I wonder if Patrick has kind of a bigger, heavier end here. So we know Richard is holding a J switch. He might try to go for on 4, just at risk of being drowned out by his Ancestral Visions, but it all sort of depends on what Patrick's doing.
Yeah, I think Patrick has Detention Sphere as a potential answer to the Jace.
Okay.
But other than that, if Jace resolves, then Richard's going to be in great shape.
Yeah.
I think the rest of Patrick's hand is a Terminus and just some counter spells. Or, sorry, some lands. So no counter spells.
Okay.
Really looking not as good in the matchup as Richard's hand.
And I like this from Richard just going off of the Snapcaster Opt. I mean, he's using his mana more efficiently, but he's putting some pressure on the board for Patrick. It kind of pressures any opposing Jaces from him, and a lot of Patrick's removal either needs Jace to set up, a la Terminus, or Random Chance with just a random Terminus, or like Path to Exile, which in this case sort of ramps Richard into a better position. So I like putting this extra pressure on the Snapcaster.
Yeah, and it looks like Jace is resolved, so
Okay.
we're going to see if Jace is good enough to fight past 2 copies of Ancestral Vision this game.
Yeah, he's really gonna have to slug it out, but I mean, it looks like right now it seems like on Patrick's side he's got a lot of lands over there, and not really a lot of action outside of these. So he's really hoping to find something here, but I don't think Richard's gonna let him go too easily.
And Patrick picked up Logic Knot 1 turn too late, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Jace is going to keep doing its thing.
Now on Richard's side, he actually doesn't have anything in his graveyard, so he has a couple Logic Knots in hand, but it could be difficult to get them through right now. He's brainstorming with Jay, so I'm sure he'll find some way, but he's gotta get something in the yard.
Yeah, I don't think he can actually Logic Knot an Ancestral, just given the lack of cards in his graveyard.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be both players drawing a ton of cards and who draws something that actually matters in the matchup first.
Yeah, just slamming into each other right now. He's got to search, but he's choosing to just pass. That tells me he wants to fight over this, but we'll have to see how he wants to do this right now.
I think Richard is probably guessing that Patrick's only way to get rid of the Jace is a Sorcerer Speed answer like Detention Sphere or maybe Teferi. So holding up the Logic Knot, even though he is not going to be able to counter an Ancestral,
Yeah. And he just
still
lets it go.
probably going to be relevant this turn.
Yeah. I think that's probably right. He's probably wanting to hold off for maybe a Teferi on his side or a Jace of his own even, just to keep things balanced. I mean, he's got an active Jace, which is really one of the best things you can have in a control mirror like this right now. And he has the pressure as well, so this is just getting better for him.
Yeah, I mean, 6 turns of Jace brainstorming makes up for the cards in the Ancestrals on its own.
Yeah.
Plus, the brainstorm effect is better than just purely drawing random cards.
Right.
I think Richard's in pretty good shape, and we see the Entreat the
Yeah,
Angels
okay.
there. So yeah, he's got the full Miracles plan.
Yeah. It looks like he's setting that up, so it'll be coming soon. And at this point, I mean, he's doing pretty well on lands as well, so this is definitely going to be the thing to fight over. And the Snapcaster's already got Patrick down to 13, so he really doesn't need that many Angels to finish this out.
I think actually down to 11 that turn.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Missed the attack in combat. And Search is coming down. Somewhat interested to see it come down there. I think that with the opt-in hand, Richard could try to set up an end of turn opt into a big Entreat. But I guess maybe wants to wait till he has more mana to play to Entreat for enough to be lethal in one turn while still leaving up Logic Knot.
I think that makes sense. It seemed like he was kind of trying to throw some bit of a bait out there for Patrick to grab, and you see that he's Logic Knotted away a lot of his graveyard. He's got a couple things in there still, but it could be that Richard's trying to set up this Entreat later. Now he's got a little more fuel in the graveyard, and he can hopefully bait out at least one counterspell for Patrick when the fight comes.
Yeah, that's certainly the big problem for Patrick's side is that there are so few cards that actually matter and so few answers to the cards that matter
Right.
that Richard can just let Patrick draw a bunch of extra cards and only fight over the small number of cards that actually matter.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we're just gonna untap here. Okay. Not doing it yet, but he could. I mean, honestly, realistically, he could just shuffle this Intrigue around on top for a while, but he's actually choosing to just shuffle. Interesting. Maybe he thinks the Snapcaster's enough, but no. Richard passed. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he drew the Entreat for his turn there or it was still on top of his deck
It looked
and
like
got
he
shuffled away.
I think he drew a Condemn, it looks like. I think he was planning on doing it next turn, but
Well, if that's the case, then might be settling in for a long one.
yeah. Patrick with the well-timed path to save him a good bit of trouble down the line. Richard finding a Tension Sphere of his own, so he's got an answer now if Patrick wants to go for something. It looked like he had actually picked up a couple of Jaces of his own on the other side.
Tension Sphere is kind of awkward in that if he Tension Spheres the Jace from Patrick, it would get rid of his own Jace.
Yeah.
So, probably doesn't want to do that one. And if Patrick sticks to Teferi instead, then the Teferi just minuses to remove the Jace. But it is still good insurance just in case Patrick does stick something problematic.
Yeah. And I wonder at one point from Richard's side if he just wants to start upticking this Jace and try to put pressure on Patrick that way.
It's possible.
I mean, he's got quite a lot of answers in hand, so it doesn't really seem like he's low on anything that he wants at this point. I mean, he's got plenty of counter magic. He's got, like, Logic Knots, lands, so I can see him just starting to uptick this Jace and kind of start to put a little more pressure on Patrick to act.
Yeah, certainly if he ever gets to the point where he just has 8 cards in hand and would have to discard, then Brainstorming doesn't help things out too much.
Yeah.
But it's not like Fate Sealing Patrick really accomplished very much.
Right. Yeah, he still has that Ancestral ticking down the other side now, too. But both players have a Field of Ruin now, so Colonnade not really going to be getting a lot of action at the moment for either side, and they're kind of just passing. Oh, here we go, though.
Okay. Patrick's going to kick off the Field of Ruin action. There's certainly a matchup where Field of Ruin is basically reserved to only hit Celestial Colonnade or opposing Field of Ruins.
Mm-hmm.
I guess also if Search for Azgantal somehow flips, then Field of Ruin can answer that.
Yeah, it's crazy how effective Field of Ruin is in a lot of these matchups where, I mean, you think initially that it's just only going to be good against Tron, but there's a lot of times where it comes up and can kill important lands like, I mean, Adventurous Fair, a lot of the main lands obviously like Colonnade or the red-green one, which I can't think of at the moment. But yeah, it's just interesting how it's coming up a lot, especially these 2-color decks to get a little more fixing. They don't really mind having that extra lane now. But it's really been doing well. It's been cool to see another card sort of come into Modern like that and take over. Patrick passing back. Which is still drawing. Okay, and now he's starting to uptick here, so trying to turn the heat on Patrick a little bit.
You Salesman, I believe he might have been shortcutting the fetch. When the Field of Ruin activation happened, there was he got a basic, and then I think he also fetched a Hallowed Fountain. I'll admit I wasn't paying close attention to that. But yeah, it's definitely not something that we can really affect at this point.
Yeah, it's been a little too far, unfortunately. Okay. So,
Either way, going back to the game, Richard did plus Jace once, but now is back to Brainstorming.
yeah, he's addicted at this point. He can't stop.
He found his own Ancestral Vision,
Oh, okay.
so just why not get even more cards?
Yeah, why not at this point? I mean, this Jace has brainstormed so many times at this point. It's really like,
Oh yeah,
what's the 6th brainstorm to the 5th brainstorm at this point? I mean, he's kind of got all the answers that he wants, and it's Patrick that's stuck in the spot that needs to answer.
yeah. I kind of said it jokingly at first that it takes 6 Jace Brainstorms to equal the 2 Ancestral Visions that Patrick had on turn 1 and turn 2.
Yeah.
But I think we're past that point now. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Richard was able
not
to get
looking
it in.
great for Patrick.
Oh yeah, he's definitely in kind of a tough spot here. I mean, he still has 2 Colonnades, but I mean, Richard has the 2 Field of Ruin, and he's just so easy for him to pass at this point and just keep things going. it's tough having all these tournaments in your deck when they're just not effective in a matchup like this, where Jace can easily just uptick at a certain point.
Yeah, I think Patrick has an Entreat in his hand, but without the Jace ability to put it back on top of his deck, certainly doesn't want to tap out to hardcast it for minimum value.
Yeah, he can't just commit it like that into this matchup where obviously Richard has the answers, and so I'm wondering how Patrick is planning to get out of this. I mean, he could just start trying to force in some Jaces of his own, but at this point Richard has so many lands, it's going to be really rough.
I think Patrick's best hope is to try to use an end of turn cryptic command, attempting to bounce the Jace, just to maybe bait a counterspell, then untap and have two big things where Richard can maybe only counter one of them.
Yeah. He needs some sort of a big swinging play like that. And he has a Cryptic on the other side, and I mean, I know we've seen he has at least one more Jace in his hand, if not two. Looks like maybe two.
Thought he just had one, but he certainly has a lot of cards. So
Yeah.
could be two.
Yeah. Okay, and Richard even has the Cryptic on his side too, so his counter wars are getting tough. I'm wondering if, I mean, Patrick could also try to wait and see if Richard goes for like a bigger entry, and Patrick could try to go for some sort of like a Terminus play and then maybe follow it up with something while Richard's lower on mana, but that window's closing very slowly at this point with the amount of lands at play.
Yeah. Patrick might just be waiting, hoping that Richard makes a mistake and taps too much mana on his own turn. But it doesn't seem like Richard has much interest in that.
Oh yeah, he's playing it slow and steady, but he's definitely winning the race right now. He's only another Jace, so even if somehow this one that's been climbing up isn't enough. Okay, so here it comes. Patrick drops a Cryptic. Let's see what Richard's gonna do.
Is that Ancestral on one? Or no, it's on two.
Yeah, it's on two.
So yeah.
Okay, so see, it looks like Patrick might be going for that play you're talking about right now, just trying to get him to fight over something as end steps, and then Patrick can respond with something at his side. But, man, I mean, Richard, like I said, he's just been brainstorming this Jace so much that he's got so many answers over there. And on top of that, he even seems to have like more lands also, so this is such an uphill battle for Patrick.
Alright, still end of turn, Field of Ruin hits Field of Ruin, which then hits Celestial Colonnade.
You're tapping out to do that too.
Yeah, he's definitely tapping more mana here.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting low, like, he's gonna go for it again with Ghost Quarter actually.
Yeah, he's ghost quitting the other field. So if Richard then fields the other Colonnade, he is only left with 2 mana tapped after that.
Yeah, it looks like he lets it go, and I think that's definitely the right play. He wants to keep up, try to keep up at least 2 counter spells so he can fight over the answers that he's sure Patrick has to be holding right now.
Yeah, depends on what's in Richard's hand. He doesn't have enough mana for a Cryptic plus a Logic Knot at this point.
Yeah.
But could play 2 Logic Knots or Snapcaster or Logic Knot.
Yeah, with the 10 lands that he has, he's kind of stuck. I mean, he's really got to have like a couple of threats here. So, okay, so here's Jace. I'm sure Richard's going to fight over this a bit. I'm just trying to figure out exactly which one to pick.
I think. Oh, Patrick still has one more Field of Ruin. So Richard's Colonnades will not be good enough to take down the Jace.
Yeah.
So he's just gonna fire off a big Logic Knot. I assume he has enough to make it so Patrick can't pay for it.
Yeah. Definitely looks like it. I think I saw Patrick have another Jace at the front, so that definitely would be the time to let it go and drop the other one if he can. Looks like he might be getting up to ask a judge question though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Richard even having the Teferi on the other side, so I mean, even if one of these Jaces gets through, on his turn, Patrick's now just tapped out, and he can just slam Teferi, uptick on the Jace, and sort of start the whole climb over again for Patrick. Okay, and there's the second Jace.
The main deck negate from Richard takes care of that.
Oh,
Ooh,
what
but
about the Spell Snare?
well, Unfortunately, this taps Patrick out, so he has to plus Jace not to lose it to Celestial Colonnade. I think he's just going for Brainstorm, put back the Entreat, and hope that a big Entreat next turn works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really the spot he's in. It's on him right now to be sort of the more aggressive player and sort of commit more resources, but see, Richard looks like he's kind of at the lens right now, just to see what's going on over there, but yeah, I just have a hard time seeing how Patrick can sort of get out of this right now. He had some rough draws, kind of drawing a lot of his late game action that he really didn't want when he needed a little more counter magic, some way to fight with this Jace.
Yeah, if he just had the logic not one turn earlier to fight the Jace,
Yeah.
I think Patrick would be very far ahead this game.
Yeah, absolutely. It just came down to the draws.
Yeah, Richard just snuck it in there in the right turn.
And it was pretty early too. I mean, sometimes you see players go for these things kind of later, but he really just went for it pretty early on. He saw, if I remember, I saw Patrick have only a couple of lands, and this is sort of the moment that he just went for it. And he got it.
Yeah. Richard was kind of in a position where, knowing that there were two Ancestors on Patrick's side, he basically was in a position where he had to slam Jace on turn 4, hope it worked.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah, it paid off well. And this could be some, consideration from him too, right? Like, if you see your opponent go Ancestral, then Ancestral again, that could just be right away something telling that maybe his hand's not all that great, but with two Ancestrals, it could easily become great. And so he may have kept something that's maybe land heavy, or that had a lot of his late game stuff, but not the early game counter spells, so it was a good moment. But now we see Patrick going for this entry that he had planned out. But Richard wanting to fight over it. Not with Snapcaster, however. Patrick with the second spell snare.
Yeah.
Man, these are doing work in this matchup right now. Wow.
So the question is, we've seen Richard discard at least one or two Terminuses to hand size earlier this game. Does he have a sweeper that he kept to play around this scenario?
It doesn't look like it. His hand, it doesn't really have any other counterspells. He has an op that he can try to go for, and of course he could have juggled something to the top with Jace maybe, but it looks like I don't have quite the answer. A Condemn, Jace, Fairy, the Field of Ruin, one other card that I didn't quite get a look at. Alright, Patrick setting up his little pseudo angels right here.
Yeah. This was only an Entreat for 3, so it is not going to be lethal in one swing.
Yeah. It seems like Patrick just wants to get something on the board to try to get this pressure in. And to be honest, this is a pretty good development for him to be able to get something on the field that can actually start to pressure this Jace. Now he's not going to just lose to getting decked. Okay, pass it over. Let's see what Richard finds here.
He's going to see at least 7 cards this turn if he wants to.
He'll find a lot.
Yeah. He found a pair of Cryptics, so those can tap the Angels to buy him even more time.
Yeah. Richard can actually, if he really wants to get rid of all these angels, he can Condemn and then double Cryptic to bounce 2 of the other angels and
that's true.
clear it all off. It's a heavy commitment, but it might be something he's looking at. But to be honest, I think the better play from his side is really to just tap the team out with Cryptics and try to get this Jace off.
Yeah. Take Jace up to 11 that turn. So the 2 Cryptics are enough to buy time for a Jace Ultimate.
Yeah.
Now, the Jace ult doesn't immediately win the game, so he will have to have enough to survive after that, but it'll still be extremely powerful.
Yeah. He's going for a Teferi on his turn here. Alright, so it looks like he's just trying to clear the board off. He's wanting to make sure that Patrick isn't just going to try to find a way to answer this Cryptic that he's going for.
Yeah, Patrick's down to only 2 cards in hand, though one of them's a Teferi that, if it resolved, would be able to put the Jace back.
Yeah. If it resolved, though, that's always the question in this control mirror.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not resolving.
Yeah.
But,
Hypothetically.
yeah, from Patrick's standpoint, he does have to go for it.
Yeah. He's just been forced into a spot where he has to be proactive with these things, but Richard's had answers for so many turns in this tournament. It's going to be rough. This is definitely looking like a game 2. So I'm wondering what the sideboard is going to look like for both of these guys. I imagine it's very similar. Most likely bringing out a lot of the Terminuses, things like that, bringing in more counter magic, but I wonder if they have any other win conditions that they want to bring in from the side, like Gideon, something like that. We'll have to see though.
It looks like Angels just all attacked Teferi to make sure that Patrick could get rid of at least one of the Planeswalkers.
Huh, interesting.
He doesn't have to worry about the Jace until next turn. But yeah, definitely interesting for Richard to both just let the Angels attack instead of using the Cryptic to tap them, and then let all the damage come through.
Richard, he's going with another Brainstorm. Might as well keep getting the value if it's been good.
Ooh, well, he found a Supreme Verdict, so that's going
pretty
to get
good.
the job done.
Yeah.
I think now he's sitting at the full 100% to win.
Oh yeah. All you need to look at is the hand size right now. Richard having more things to do with that he knows, and Patrick only having green. I mean, he's got the answers on the side. It's just that he's never been able to get the window down to play them. I mean, as soon as Richard had that Jace, this is really what it's like.
Yeah. This is why Jace was banned in Modern for most of the history of the format.
Yeah.
That in games when it sits in play for more than a couple turns, it is just obscenely powerful.
Yeah. You really have to have just something down to get it out, and that's why I think like cards like Snapcaster when they got printed were also just such a huge game changer. Is that it's not only is it like a great double spell, but it also puts this pressure on some of these times when you really need it to. It can block when you need it to, it can be an attacker when you need it to, and there's just never any matches where it's bad. So Snapcaster and Jay is going to be best buddies for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I think Vendilion Click too also kind of fits into that category.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've seen decks start to play like more Vendilion Clicks. I know, I've seen some people playing around with the Blue-Red Delver list, and that's one that actually just plays 3 Vendilion Click. And it's a great way that it can get more information, which these blue decks always love to have, but put a great attacker and pressure threat on the field too.
Absolutely.
I wonder if we'll see any of those out of the sideboard for either of these two players.
It's not unreasonable. Either Click or Spell Color, I think, are pretty common options for a semi-disruptive creature to be in a sideboard for a blue-white deck.
Yeah. It's interesting to think too, I mean, how much creature removal they want to get in. Their individual removal isn't that great, but sweepers are obviously pretty good if both of them are playing Entropy Angels, which they both are, so it's interesting to think exactly how much they want to do. And I mean, technically, I don't know if Patrick actually knows that Richard is playing Entropy, so he might not even know exactly what he's up against. Which could be huge, right? I mean, Patrick could easily just take out all of his Terminus and then kind of be stuck with only like 1 or 2 Supreme Birds in his deck to deal with a bunch of Angels, and that would be hard.
Yeah, I would imagine Supreme Verdict is the one you want just because of the uncounterability.
Yeah.
Still,
Okay.
does have to find it if Richard is able to put a bunch of Angels into play.
Yeah, Patrick scoops it up. He's had enough.
Yeah,
He's
that's
been
going to do it
jaced.
for game 1.
He's been jaced. He's like, alright, I give up. He had a great start, and it's something that we were seeing worrying for Neil, but he was just never able to follow it up right. Okay. So looking at the sideboards here, just taking a quick peek. We saw that Baneslayer on the side from Richard, bringing in some negates, it looks like. Looks like maybe a Vendilion Click? Yeah. Bringing that in as well.
Yeah, probably bring in any blue cards that are in a sideboard and cutting a bunch of white cards.
Yeah. Looks like a couple of spells, a negate or 2. Crucible of Worlds is another interesting one that he wanted to bring in. And that's definitely, I think, a good swinger. If Patrick doesn't have something like that, it's not a permanent that Patrick may be expecting. He doesn't necessarily want to have to use a potential sphere on it, but at the same time, I mean, it turns off essentially all of Patrick's Field of Ruins by just letting Richard replay all his colonnades.
Yeah. It's certainly very good in the long game.
And that's where this is going to go. I mean, none of these players are really going to get off to some lightning fast start that's just going to end it all right then and there.
Well, I think that game 1 was actually, I mean, even though the game itself took 25 minutes,
Yeah.
like, it was over about as fast as possible when Richard just landed that turn 4 Jace.
Yeah. It really was. It's not something that's just going to take up the whole time.
Yeah, you can theoretically have games that are effectively over on turn 4 or turn 5.
Yeah.
But
And Patrick played it out.
Yeah.
I think he played to his outs well. I mean, he really went for it on that one turn, and it just didn't pan out. Richard had gone. If he had it a little sooner, it could have worked. But Richard had all the answers he needed at the time. But yeah, Patrick, he played it out. I think he played it like he needed to. Just try to go for it and hope that it works.
yeah, and game 1 is the game where both players have a bunch of deck cards in their deck.
Yeah.
They might not know what their opponent's on, so they might,
Right.
keep a hand that's not great in the matchup, stuff like that. In the post-board games, that's not going to be the case. Richard's odds of just slamming a Jace on turn 4 and having it resolve are way worse
Yeah.
than game 1.
Not quite the chance, but I mean, there's some pretty easy cuts from both sides. So, and there's no control player that's unprepared for the control mirror match. So, both of these guys are really bringing the heat now. We're expecting to see probably longer counter wars. We'll have to see. I don't think either of them are really going to risk going for a big play early on because the swing potential could be huge in this case.
Yeah, you generally don't want to be the player that blinks first unless you have a big enough mana advantage that you feel pretty safe that you're going to win the fight.
Yeah. I think a good turn to look at that these guys are more likely one of the earlier turns that they're going to try to get a threat onto the field is probably around when they have 7 lands or so in play, whenever that is for them. At that point, they can play out a Jace, and then they can also fight it with a Logic Knot, and then have either Dispel or Spell Pierce, Spell Pierce, Spell Snare backup, and try to win a fight like that. But alright, so we're off here pretty quick. Patrick fetching easily, and then Richard playing out a Colonnade.
I didn't get a good look at Patrick's hand, but Richard's hand, it looks like, has mostly answers and just a bunch of counter spells and some lands.
That was kind of the seed he was in last time, and it worked out pretty well for him then, so I'm sure he'd be happy to keep another hand like this right now.
Absolutely.
There's that Jace again.
But here's a slightly slower turn 3 Ancestral Vision, but still a big problem for Richard. And did he pick up, is that a Vendilion Click that he drew first turn?
It looks like it's a Disdainful Stroke.
Oh, that is very different.
Yeah, but still a nice one to have. Counters a lot of the things you care about in this matchup.
Doesn't counter Ancestral Vision though.
Fortunately not.
Though, if Patrick doesn't do anything before the turn the vision comes off and draws 3 cards, he might just have to discard some.
Yeah. Just kind of hanging on.
Looks like Richard's in the spot where he's going to miss a land drop. So, ooh, this is interesting.
Just going for the Filthy Ruin here.
Now if Patrick responds by fielding the Colonnade, Richard just stuck on 3 lands. But it looks like Patrick doesn't want to take that risk of tapping mana in his own turn.
And I mean, on Richard's side, if Patrick does go for that, he has the Crucible of Worlds in hand, so he's fine with him just getting Filthy Ruin like that. He'll just replay it.
Yeah, it would be good. I mean, Patrick would still have access to 3 mana, so reasonably likely to still have some sort of counterspell for the Crucible.
Yeah.
I think Richard is very happy that that field resolved instead of Patrick responding with his own field activation. But regardless, I think Richard is going to miss a land drop here, or maybe fire off in main phase opt.
Yeah. I mean, it's really rough if you start to stumble at lands in this matchup.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what happened to Patrick last time. I mean, Richard had a few turns where he was able to smooth out all his land drops with the Jace Brainstorms, but Patrick didn't, and you can start to see where his lands just were so far behind that he didn't have the resources to try to throw these answers and problems in Richard's face, but he could stop them so easily.
Yeah, because of how expensive the Haymaker threats are, you really need to be plus 3 or 4 mana on your opponent before you can get to that position of feeling safe to tap out main phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, Richard is not going to be really close to that unless he can stick this Crucible somehow.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to be going for it.
He's going for it with, I believe, just Logic Knot backup.
Yeah. Okay, so Patrick going for a Cryptic.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what Richard's wanting. I mean, he go for the expensive counterspell, then hope he doesn't have another one, and it looks like he does make it.
That's going to work. Wow.
Okay, this is good. This is very good for Richard at this point. He's able to play the second land, and now he has Logic Knot backup in case Patrick had something like a Detention Sphere to answer it. And
but I think Patrick just drew Elspeth Sun's Champion, and he can play it with Dispel backup.
This is not good. Reverse backup. This is not going well anymore. Abort.
Yeah, this Haymaker is a little bit better than the Crucible.
He's got to go for it. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, there's no way that Richard can have 2 counterspells to beat this.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, show me you got it. I mean, I'm going to fight, but... Oh, man. Elspeth, just a little better than Crucible right now.
Yeah. I mean, card advantage is cool and all, but killing your opponent is sometimes better.
Yeah. Oh, and there it is. Could not play it faster.
Yeah.
Okay. This game gonna end pretty quickly, it looks like. I mean, Richard has an option here to try to answer this Elspeth. He could try to get it off the field now. This is his one window.
Well, the Elspeth's on 5, so Colonnade doesn't get there.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's got Teferi to minus on it.
Yeah, so I was thinking either Teferi or like a detention sphere of his own. Okay, and he has a Teferi in hand.
Yeah, I think he can Teferi to minus on the Elspeth, and then the soldier tokens kill the Teferi, but Richard is just left with the Crucible, still getting him advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. The hard part from Richard's side too is once he gets out this Teferi, I mean, he's putting the shields down again, right? So Patrick can just go for something else. Oh, he's actually going for Colonnade. Interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit better. I mean, it gives Patrick one more turn of Elspeth activations, but currently Patrick doesn't have any way to remove the Colonnade. So Elspeth's probably going to die.
Yeah, and Richard just assumes that he can pick up. I mean, he can sweep up these tokens pretty easily. It's not like he's going to start using Path to Exile anyways, even if he somehow capped it in. So he's more likely to just sweep them off anyways.
To answer Cardboard Live's question in the chat, we have a Legacy event going on at the same time as our Modern event, and we stream the Modern one primarily, but if we have time between rounds of Modern, we might see some Legacy on camera.
Yeah.
Certainly with the Invitational coming up this weekend, I'm pretty excited to see some Legacy action.
Yeah, it's cool seeing some fresh decks and stuff. I think the bannings were good. They mix it up in just the right way for me to want to keep watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh.
Okay.
Richard, so while we were talking there, Richard went for a Disdainful Stroke on the Jace, but Patrick had Cryptic to counter that and bounce the Celestial Colonnade. So Richard decided to pack it in.
Yeah.
And that's going to take us to a game 3 here.
Yeah, that was a great play with Patrick just to wrap it up. He finished it out really well. Yeah, Richard going for the Colonnade play, which seemed like it was going to work out well, and he was able to counter the next step that he expected Patrick to have, but Patrick, he had the Cryptic, and it was an easier cleanup there.
Yeah.
Looks like no more sideboarding. They all know what they want. They're just going right back at it again.
Yeah, 17 minutes is probably enough time to finish a game 3, but it certainly could not be if both players have great draws to take it to a long game.
Yeah, and I think we'll start to see the second and third games will go a little bit faster. I think partially just because both players are sliding in really any threat that they can get at this point, and they're trying to both resolve them early on while the other players are lower on lands. So when one of these sets do resolve, it tends to be sort of more of a haymaker where they're each throwing threats at each other rather than one person deploying and then keeping shields up for the whole game.
Yeah, certainly Elspeth ends the game much faster than either of the card-drawing Planeswalkers.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure if either of these players have any Gideons, but those doing the same thing pretty well.
Okay, Richard starting off. Looks like he's got
Some lands, a Jace.
yeah, a couple things to do early on maybe, so not too bad. Alright, so he leads off the island. He has not started with an Ancestral yet, and it looks like Patrick, oh, he's got it.
I would guess that probably Patrick's playing 4 copies of Ancestral main deck and Richard is playing less than that.
Yeah.
Ooh, but he's got turn 2 Search.
Okay, this is pretty good. Fueling Lodging Knot in this matchup is definitely a very nice benefit.
Yeah, also just the rampant growth effect can be pretty significant.
Yeah.
If you can maybe, like on turn 5, flip Search to have enough mana for Jace plus a 2-mana counterspell.
Yeah. It's a nice little lead, and Richard started first too, so he'll sort of have that extra little window where he can go for something here. Patrick's playing out lands.
Gonna bin a Teferi, so looks like pretty aggressively looking to flip that Search.
Yeah. I mean, once this Ascantia does flip, he'll be in a pretty good spot, so I'm sure he's just thinking that that's going to be enough to get him as far as possible. Yeah, Patrick calling up still more Ancestral Visions. I mean, he's been having so many of these throughout these games. I mean, these openers have been pretty good for him for the most part.
Yeah. I would guess that the blue-white deck with 4 main deck Ancestral Visions is pretty favored in the control mirror.
Yeah.
But there are just so few cards that actually matter. It really is anyone's game.
Okay, so Richard passing. He's in a similar position to the first game where he could choose to on end step go for like a Snapcaster opt or something to put a little more pressure on Patrick. We'll see if he wants to do it here. If he wants to wait for maybe he has Cantrip to flip so he has a bit more lands, or if he just wants to get the pressure down now. It does make him farther from flipping, but something to consider.
Yeah, I imagine that he's waiting until he can fire off Jace with one counterspell backup.
Oh, with a Vendilion Click. This is a good one.
Yeah, that's going to force some sort of action.
Yeah.
Patrick has Negate, which unfortunately can't counter it. He's going to opt first.
Okay. So Neil with 4 cards in the graveyard. I mean, if he has like a fetch land or something like that, this guy's Kenta could be flipping really soon. Wow, Patrick having just the spoils of stuff on the side.
Yeah, it's a very stacked hand, but if Richard takes the Negate, Patrick doesn't have an answer to the Jace.
Right.
Though I guess Teferi would be an answer if Patrick finds the 5th land.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, okay, he does take the Negate, and I like that. I mean, like you said, it's Patrick's only way to interact with what Richard's doing on his side, and once this is Cantrip flips, it's going to be in a pretty good position. There is the field rune from Patrick's side, of course, but he'll still have that hand up.
Yeah, Richard will get at least 1 activation, plus just getting the bonus land effect is pretty nice.
Okay, and Touch of Sphere is definitely a pretty nice draw for Richard. Something to answer all those permanents that Patrick's holding on his hand.
Yep.
This click too, I mean, this is a big deal also. I mean, Patrick, you can't just throw down these Jason Teferi's and minus and expect something to happen with them. I mean, Vendilion Click, it works pretty well against Teferi. Not exactly the best thing you want to tuck away. It can one-hit a Jason unless he uptakes, but that's not great. So this is a really good threat for Neil to have.
Yeah, we'll see if it's good enough to overcome the pair of Ancestrals.
Okay, ooh, Neil.
He is going for the Jace.
Yep. He knows his window. He wants to go for it. Get a quick brainstorm off. Worst case scenario is that it gets tucked away.
Well, he found a Teferi, so we could see some weird main phase tapping out action of Teferi tucks away Jace, and then Richard Teferi tucks away Patrick's Teferi,
Yeah.
and Richard is back in the driver's seat.
A couple stuff, and actually, even on Richard's side, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of answers to work with right now. He's got a Snapcaster, but other than that, this spell's not really the thing that he wants to get. But Patrick's is firing off his Ancestral now. All this planning. Snapcaster goes for Jace. It's down a little bit lower, not quite there. I think Richard's okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick has a bunch of counter spells, but I think that sticking Teferi this turn is just too nice.
Yeah. Going for the up.
Okay. Probably counting on Snapcaster to continue pressuring the Jace. Doesn't want to let the Vendilion Click just kill Teferi.
Yeah, and he picked up a Logic Knot also, so that could definitely be a big reason also too, to just uptick, get those 2 lands untapped, and have a way to fight back against whatever he's doing. And he has a pretty good setup to start cleaning house next turn.
Yeah, unfortunately for Patrick, I think Richard's going to be able to play Teferi with Dispel backup. Just going to answer the Teferi pretty nicely.
Yeah. Let's see what he wants to do.
Certainly got a wealth of options in hand.
Yeah, both players have a good bit to work with. And I think this is the part where they like to be in these mirrors. You know, it's interesting, it's fun, there's some interaction. Neither player has gotten to the point where they have too many lands, where it's just a complete one-sided kind of fight. So you really have to pick and
I
choose.
still got the Detention Sphere.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
an even better answer.
Yeah. Alright, Patrick's going for it.
Oh,
But,
does Patrick have enough cards in graveyard? I guess regardless, it's going to get hit by Dispel.
yeah.
I think that might have only been alive not to tap Richard out, but Richard would rather just still have 2 men up anyway.
Yeah, Richard holding back to the Vendilion Click, ready to block for this Jace.
And now Path could clear the click, and Snapcaster can kill Jace.
I I know Richard's holding a Snapcaster of his own in his hand, so
Oh yeah,
he
just
could
ambush
just
Viper
go
mode.
that Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright, he's gonna go for it. Let's see how much he wants to fight over this.
I think regardless, Patrick has Spell Snare to cover it, but Richard's just gonna let the Jace die anyway.
Yeah.
Ooh, and rest in peace. Make sure that the search is not gonna flip, coming down right on time.
So we just got some more information about the metagame here. Just kind of pouring over, seeing what we got.
I see a lot of Esper decks in the room.
Yeah, I was noticing that too.
3 straight Esper control plus 2 Esper spirits. I know I was talking to Case a little bit before the event. He's playing one of the Esper Spirits players, and it looks like pretty much just straight blue-white splashing Lingering Souls.
Yeah. 2 card splash for it. We even have Esper aggro here.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
But other than that, I mean, it's pretty diverse for the most part. And there's a couple decks you expect to see a few more of, like Burn, Humans, just Sky Control. But even those, I mean, it's not really overwhelming compared to any of the other options.
Yeah, kind of as expected. Blue-white control variants and Burn are our 2 most popular archetypes. But then, yeah, other than that, basically no more than 3 of anything that I can see.
Yeah. Only one KCI player, and I think that deck is pretty good. I'm surprised to see that more people haven't been trying to like pick it up and learn it.
Yeah, it's certainly good if you're willing to put in the time to learn how to play it well.
2.
But it can be difficult at first. No, it's the same one.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Same guy.
I know Tom's been playing that deck for a while. He's pretty happy with it.
Alright, let's see what we have going on back over here.
It looks like Patrick's resolving a Jace,
Yeah.
but Richard has Teferi, so could have the question of which one's better here.
Yeah, big fight. Patrick has that Snapcaster, which is really putting in some good fights here. And, I mean, Richard looks like he lost it away a lot of his feel for to flip this as Cantus, so that's not happening.
Well, the rest in peace came down, so
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go. Okay.
there is no Azcanta action, or no flipping of Azcanta. It's going to happen anytime soon in this game.
With both players playing, like, I mean, 4 Field of Ruin, or presumably a very high amount, it's like, even if it does flip, a lot of the times it's, I mean, you know, it'll eat a Field of Ruin, but it's not really going to get to do all the work that you like it to.
Yeah.
Okay, so Richard going for his own Jace right now. I'm just going to brainstorm, hopefully find something that can help out.
Ooh, he found an Entreat.
Yeah. So we can
But
jump into
notably,
that.
he doesn't have a second white source.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
He has a Flood Restraint in hand, never mind.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he also has the Field of Ruin, so if he wants to just sort of fire that off and grab a Plains or something like that, that's an option. There's still a Colony to hit or a Field of Ruin on the other side. Okay. That lands on tapping here. You're going to pass back over to Patrick.
And Richard kept the Entreat in hand, did not want to put it back for this turn. So probably looking to crack his fetch land, shuffle 2 blank cards away, and save the Entreat for a better situation.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly with 2 Planeswalkers in play, neither of which dies this turn to the Snapcaster, Richard is in pretty good shape this game.
Yeah. Funny enough, in this matchup, Entreat's actually a lot safer in his hand rather than around the top of his deck, just between, I mean, Path and Field of Ruin, Fairies, just things like that to kind of mess up the order for a lot of these. It's actually just safer to hold in your hand.
Yeah, that's true. The shuffle and Field of Ruin is not optional, so that can be a good way to disrupt the Miracle plan.
So Patrick now getting to work with the wealth of resources. And he's going to pass right back over to Richard, so looks like he's going for a Field of Ruin now. I'll call it a.
Patrick's definitely up cards because of the multiple Ancestral Mutants he's resolved this game.
Yeah.
But, like we saw in Game 1, these Planeswalkers will slowly overcome that. I think he's probably going to need to find an answer to Patrick's Jace before he can really turn the corner. But I think Richard is still a little bit ahead right now.
Yeah.
And I guess if he can kill the Snapcaster, then Teferi can just mind us on the Jace.
Yeah.
Did he just find a
Terminus,
Terminus?
but put it into hand.
Yeah, drew that one a little bit too quickly.
Oh no! Oh, that would have been great. You could have slipped away the Snapcaster and downside with the Fairy on the Jace.
Yeah.
Would have been in such a great spot. Okay, but he's gonna brainstorm here.
Finds
All hope is lost.
Path and another Terminus. So now he's got all the answers.
Yeah. So stack them up. So he's got a path in hand. I mean, presumably the Snapcaster is going to go after his Jace next turn. I wonder if he's giving any like consideration to just pathing the Snapcaster to keep his Jace around. I mean, it's not a great play, but he really doesn't want to
Again,
lose
we have
it.
people in the chat mentioning that someone is grabbing a shock off Field of Ruin. Which player was that? David, which player was it that did that? We will probably check on that after the round. Richard, okay.
Richard, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't really have the ability to affect the match right now.
Yeah.
But given that Chet has mentioned that twice now,
Yeah.
we will look into it
Yeah.
for sure.
We can let the judge know and he can have a quick conversation with him, but unfortunately our hands are somewhat tied up here in the booth.
Yeah.
Okay. Bit of a negate fight here. So it looks like Richard went for,
Yeah, I think this is fighting over an end of turn Vendilion click from Patrick.
yeah. But it resolved. Okay. Now that intrigue that looks safer. It seemed quite so safe.
Yeah. Interesting that Richard didn't fire off the path in response, but Patrick's not. Oh, maybe he is going to take it.
He's hovering.
Yeah.
He's going with the path. Okay.
I mean, this leaves Patrick with 5 power in play, which can take down the Teferi. And seems like a pretty good position.
Okay. So, yep. Snapcaster putting Jace. Click him Teferi. Things are kind of crumbling a little bit for Neil here. Patrick knows what he's working with. He's got the better board at this point, and it's going to be an uphill fight.
Interesting that Patrick killed the Jace instead of the Teferi.
Yeah, I mean, now that Teferi's under 3 loyalty, he's not really going to get to do things he wants to, and it's going to be dead next turn anyways.
Well, I think it's worse if Richard had a Terminus that turn,
Right.
but does not look like he did. So yeah, Teferi is likely to die this turn.
Yeah, and Patrick, like I said, I mean, he kind of knows what Richard's working with at this point, which is a huge advantage here. So, we'll see if Richard can find a way out of this, but... Okay, so he's going for a Jace again. Patrick has a Cryptic.
Patrick's got all the answers at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Just going for it. Wow. The triple Cryptic fight. There's always one at a time here.
Yeah, 2 different Cryptics, each drawing Patrick card.
Okay.
He's going to get to untap, still have a Jace in play, kill the Teferi, and have 2 creatures.
That's a huge swing. I'd say, yeah, Patrick pretty firmly in the driver's seat at this point.
He's even feeling comfortable enough to start plussing Jace.
Yeah. Just trying to cover all of his bases, get as much availability as possible for the win here. I mean, he did spend 2 Cryptics on last turn, so this could be maybe the chance that Richard wants to go for it, but I mean, with an upticking Jace, it's so hard.
Yeah, I see at least 1 Snapcaster in Patrick's hand. He's got an Opt. Not sure what the other card in his hand is, but certainly access to at least 1 counterspell for anything Richard can play here.
Yeah. And if he doesn't, he's going to dig for it with that Opt.
Yeah.
So Neil's holding this entry. Not really a lot he can go do with it here. I mean, he knows that he's in a tough spot. Oh man. Speaking of that,
Hitting the end of turn entreat for probably enough to be lethal in 1.
yeah.
This is an
It looks
entreat
like
for 4. Yeah,
Okay.
Richard just has nothing. He's got to scoop it off.
Yeah.
Alright, well, with about 20 seconds left in the round, I think that's going to do it for our round 1 match here.
Yeah.
So,
Well timed.
in a shocker, Blue Eyed Miracles takes it down with the Blue Eyed Miracles.
100% success rate here.
Yeah,
Couldn't have failed.
I mean, certainly both those decks looking powerful. But
Yeah.
we'll try to get a faster one for you guys in round 2.
Yeah, that was an interesting matchup. I mean, it kind of came up, like we said, obviously the Miracles, they add that nice sort of surprise factor, I guess. And really, you're not really losing a lot by playing with them. Sometimes they're dead card, of course, but I mean, getting to play like, things like Opt and Jace, you can actually get to control the top of your deck more than you think. You don't necessarily need a top in order to make these cards powerful. And both of these players are kind of looking into an archetype that can sort of mess around with it a little bit more. So, let's see. Looking at the field that we have here, there's definitely some interesting ones on this side. This Esper aggro list, I can't lie, I'm curious. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. 4-color gift stacks, black-red devotion.
Yeah, I think the 4-color gift stack, or actually, I'm not sure. I know Jason, the player who's playing that deck, has had a lot of different versions in the past, so I don't want to make any assumptions about which one he's playing tonight.
Yeah. I'll fiddle around a little bit. There's actually a good bit of goblins too, which is kind of interesting. There's, looks like 4 different goblins players.
I only see
3.
3.
Okay, there we go, 3. But
yeah, the left column there is by name, and then the right is by
okay.
So yeah,
This one's luck.
it's not repeated twice. But yeah, Goblins is the deck that's gotten a lot of new tools, both from Dominaria and M19.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, with Legacy, they have access to so many good goblins that can find other ones and get the sort of pieces to the puzzle that they're looking for. So the Moderns version is kind of missing a lot of those, and that kind of seems to be the key that they're just trying to find some way to like supplement that.
Goblin Ringleader is way more powerful than anything that we have access to in Modern.
Yeah.
And Matron is a nice addition to that for the Legacy version.
Yeah.
The Modern versions of Goblins that we've seen in the past are mostly just burn decks that are a bit more creature heavy than the traditional burn deck.
Yeah. You had to play Goblin Grenade.
But yeah, there are interesting new tools with Skirk Prospector opening up some combo options.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what some of these players are doing. Hopefully, should have round 2 pairings up pretty soon. If anyone in the chat has any specific requests for archetypes they want to see, feel free to fire them off. We'll try to get them on camera at some point. I think we do have at least all of the major decks covered by at least someone. I'm not sure on Lantern. 2 Lantern players.
2 Lantern players. It's always
For
around.
all of you Lantern fans in the chat, I might not make any promises about us seeing that on camera.
Yeah, I don't know. After the Miracles mirror, I'm not sure if if I'm really raring to go for it now on Lantern.
But yeah, we usually have a few people that are overly enthusiastic about seeing Lantern on camera. I'll say.
I love Lantern. I love me some Lantern. It's a great deck, but
This is the Bellevue location.
yeah. You want to see some road decks?
Yes.
Ooh, like this Esper aggro deck. I'm so interested. I wonder what he's playing to like try to go with it. Is it like a blue-white spirit deck, like plus some black stuff, or
Yeah, I mean, could be like Geist of Saint Draft, plus like we've seen the Jeskai more tempo-y aggressive version of that deck in the past.
yeah.
Maybe just with black spells instead of red spells.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's what the stands are here, but I mean, like we said earlier, there's quite a lot of variety. It seems like the only ones that seem to be showing up in big multiples. I mean, it's things you can usually expect, like Burn, Jeskai, Lord of Pyromancer now, the white decks, but pretty diverse, honestly.
Yeah.
So, is there anything out of like M19 that you think is going to be particularly impactful for Modern?
So the obvious one is the new 2-mana Spirit Lord.
Right.
I mean, Banned Spirits was a deck that was just a little bit too weak on the like Tribal Class Company deck side before, and that might push it over the top. I know there was one copy that did well at the Star City Open last weekend. I believe made top 4. So yeah, that's just a card that has an obvious shelf to start with in Modern.
Yeah, and it's found itself really nicely. I mean, it goes right in. It kind of helps end those games a little bit quicker for him. Outside of that, I mean, we get some nice reprints between Escape Shift and Crucible of Worlds. Those are very much, I'm personally very happy to see those reprinted.
Yeah, someone in the chat's mentioning Militia Bugler, which is a card I'm not super confident on. It has potential to be good, but it seems like there are already a lot of very good options for the like 3-mana creature that generates some from card advantage.
What does that one do again? I might have passed over that.
It's a 3-mana 2/3 where you look at, I believe, the top 4 cards of your library for a creature with CMC 2 or less and put it in your hand. I'm gonna pull it up here in the chat just to.
Interesting. Yeah, let's see if we can find it here, because that could be something interesting. Anything that can pop up like that.
Oh yeah, look at the top 4 for. Oh, it's power 2 or less, not CMC. So yeah,
okay.
that does hit basically everything in the humans deck. Could be a good option there.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got in the 1-0 bracket here.
So, look through the pairings now.
I mean, Jeff and Billy basically always play the same thing. Don't really want to see either of them. Ryan, I assume, is on some sort of control deck.
I know that Charlie, I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the turn.
Yep.
So he's on
I'm
the turn.
gonna take one of these. Just peek.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see if we can find something in Mardu.
More interesting than the control mirror.
Yeah. Table 4. Donald is another control player. Humans versus. It's gonna be on that sheet. Yep. So another control player there.
A lot of control making it.
So Frank circled this one, and it's probably an interesting. Let's get that. It's gonna be the Collected Company mirror, but 2 different versions of Collected Company.
Oh, okay.
Actually, do you want to go let him know? Table 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be Adam Pinchback, who's on Band Company, versus the Brad Rutherford on Abzan Company. So I will get that entered in. Yeah. 2 very similar and yet significantly different decks for this matchup, given that for the Abzan Company deck, I don't think this is a matchup where Infinite Life is actually relevant. If the Band Company deck has the Devoted Druid combo to just go even bigger.
Yeah, sometimes these combos are not quite enough on their own in these mirrors, and that's why I think Collected Company and these sort of toolbox decks are interesting, because you think that things can be over so easily, but at the same time they can find these powerful answers to a lot of these combos or ways around it.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the reasons why I prefer the Band Company version, and that I found the Kitchen Finks combo to just not be good enough as much anymore. But it's certainly still